most important keyword is the Matthew effect, right? You've got to know what that is. But I want you to define the Matthew effect, right? And I want you to see if you can find another one, right? One that isn't so obvious. So it could be a word that Gladwell uses over and over. It could be a part in the reading where you sense that he's making a point, right? All right, so two things. I want your definition of the Matthew effect and another keyword. But I thought we would try to find one together now, if that's okay with you. Are there any questions on that? Yes, fear would be a high frequency word, right? Yeah, good. No, just making a prediction. A success might be a high frequency word for this book. Could be some others. But let's look. So I thought we don't have time to read the whole chapter, but I thought we would start reading some of the Matthew effect. I know some of you might have read it, maybe some of you haven't started. That's fine. Oh, where are we at? So if you will play your part and stop me now and then, we can have a little discussion about this, right? Sound good? Yeah? I'll take that as a yes. All right. Hypothesis. And I like to get rid of the annotations, so I just click on that I and want to clean copy it. All right. So again, we know that this book is divided into two parts. The first part is opportunity. Part 2 is a legacy. Somebody asked, how many of these chapters are we going to read? I'm going to do something a little differently. I think we're going to read this chapter. I'm going to have the class read chapter 2, the 10,000 hour rule, and then I'm going to let you choose one of the remaining 3 or 4 chapters from part 1. I'll give you a brief synopsis, and you'll choose, and you'll do a little reading activity. But more on that in the seaside town. All right, so part 1, opportunity. All right, so I'm going to do kind of a think aloud, and I'm going to go. And when you want to stop, you go ahead. All right, chapter 1, the Matthew effect. Well, I see that word Matthew, and right away I think of the Bible. Oh, and what do you know? I read it. A verse from the Bible, right? For unto everyone that, here's that Bible language again. It's hard to figure out. Let's see. For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. Matthew 25:29. All right. I think I think in a roundabout way, I'm going to chunk it right away, right? This is pretty dense. I think it's saying that people who already have something are going to get more, and people who don't have any aren't going to get anything, or worse yet, they're going to have stuff taken away from them. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, how does this relate to this whole idea? So Gladwell wrote this book on success. So maybe, to make a prediction, you might have something, right? He might be telling us there are Some people are successful because they are beneficiaries of certain things or maybe love or something. So that might have something to do with it. But I'm going to hold on to that thought and hopefully it becomes more clear. All right. Again, when you're ready, stop me. One warm spring day in May of 2007, the Medicine Hat Tigers, that's an odd, Medicine Hat Tigers, like Tylenol, and the Vancouver Giants met for the Memorial Cup Hockey Championship in Vancouver, British Columbia. British Columbia hockey, that's like football is here, right? That's their sport, right? The Tigers and the Giants were the two finest teams in the Canadian Hockey League, which in turn is the finest junior hockey league in the world. Okay, that kind of reaffirms what I just said. It should be the finest league in the world because that's what they play there. These were the future stars of the sport. As one of those dashes, 17, 18, and 19-year-olds who had been skating and shooting pucks since they were barely more than toddlers. So they were...
Stop.
Okay.
Like right there, it's interesting how they're gonna. I think that they're gonna focus between those ages, between the age of 17 through 19, and it's just interesting. Why does it matter that they started since they were toddlers?
Good. These great questions. Yeah. So just out of curiosity, what made you think that they might focus on that? The age, maybe the dash?
Yeah, the dashes and then the it's the age 17, 18, and 19.
Yeah. So, yeah, right around that age, well, I think mine maybe 15, 16, I was a little bit young, but that's usually a time when boys, young men, can have a spurt, right? A growth spurt, too, so that might have something to do with it. Okay, good. The game was broadcast on Canadian national television. Well, wait a minute. This junior hockey league game was broadcast on national television. Up and down the streets of downtown Vancouver, Memorial Cup banners hung from the vendors. The arena was packed. A long red carpet was rolled out on the ice. The announcer introduced the game's dignitary. Sort of like, who's the special person that's going to throw out the first pitch, like at a baseball game or something like that. So I'm going to stop myself here. It seems like Malcolm Gladwell really wants us to know how big this is, right? Not only the sport, but this event. First came the premiere of British Columbia, Gordon Campbell. Then, amid tumultuous applause, out walked Gordie Howe. Now, I don't know much about hockey, but I know Gordie Howe is kind of like a Michael Jordan or a LeBron James of hockey. One of the legends of the game. And we have a positive phrase right there to prove that. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcer, Mr. Hockey. Now, for the next 60 minutes, the two teams played spirited, aggressive hockey. Vancouver scored first early in the second period on a rebound by Mario Bliznak. Late in the second period, it was Medicine Hat's turn. As the team's scoring leader, Darren Helm, fired a quick shot past Vancouver's goalie, Tyson Sexton. Vancouver answered in the third period, scoring the game's deciding goal, and then, when Medicine Hat pulled its goalie in desperation, Vancouver scored it third time. Okay, stop. I'm wondering why he felt it important to give us this play-by-play, right? I'm wondering that. That's something I have in the back of my head. Okay. In the aftermath of the game, the players and their families and sports reporters from across the country crammed into the winning team's locker room. The air was filled with cigar smoke and the smell of champagne and sweat-soaked hockey gear. Yeah, I can picture that, went to Super Bowl or the championship of any sport, there's a lot of champagne, stuff like that. On the wall, was a hand-painted banner. Embrace the struggle. In the center of the room, the Giants coach, Don Hayes, stood misty-eyed and gave his crown. I'm just so proud of these guys, he said. Just look around the locker room. There isn't one guy who didn't buy in wholeheartedly. Yeah, I think he's doing something here. He's setting us up for something. All right. Canadian hockey is a meritocracy. I think this would be a key word. How many of you know what a meritocracy is? Okay, let's finish reading the paragraph and see if we can use the context to guess the meaning. If not, somebody can look it up. All right, so Canadian hockey is a meritocracy. Thousands of Canadian boys begin to play the sport at the novice level. Okay, novice is like a junior, just like you do, okay? Before they are even in kindergarten. From that point on, there are leagues for every age class. And at each of those levels, the players are sifted and sorted and evaluated with the most talented separated out and groomed for the next level. What about now? Do you think we can, guess what a meritocracy might be?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Step-by-step development in game, then selecting those who are playing best.
Yeah. It's like this process where you succeed on how good you are, maybe?
Yes.
All right. Okay. I got another question. And that's a Rossetto mystery. So Gladwell told us he wants us to think outside the box, right, in terms of success. Do you think he's going to be talking about a meritocracy? I don't think so, right? Let's keep going. All right. So by the time the players reach their mid-teens, the very best of the best have been channeled into an elite league known as Major Junior A, which is the top of the pyramid. Okay? And if your Major Junior A team plays for the Memorial Cup, that means you are at the very top of the pyramid. So yeah, meritocracy. I'm going to Google it real quick, but I think we're right. That goes to show you that sometimes you can use the context, right? You can kind of get a pretty good definition. All right. Governments or the holding of power by people selected on the basis of their ability, right? Okay, so that's basically what's going on here. So Malcolm Gladwell just told us that Canadian hockey is a meritocracy. People succeed. They get to this top of the pyramid, right? If you are good enough, if you're the best, right? Okay. This is the way most sports pick their future stars. It's the way soccer is organized in Europe, South America, and it's the way Olympic athletes are chosen. Okay. For that matter, it is not all different from the way the world of classical music picks its future virtuosos, or the way the world of ballet picks its future ballerinas, or the way our elite educational system picks its future scientists and intellectuals. So basically, he's saying the whole world is a meritocracy, right? Almost. Okay? You can't buy your way into Major Junior A hockey. It doesn't matter who your father or mother is. That's right, it shouldn't be, right? Or who your grandfather was, or what a business your family is in. Okay, stop. I'm going to stop myself. My mother and father-in-law had a janitorial business for years, and they cleaned the Spanos house. And anybody, if you've heard of the name Spanos, he has he had a lot of pull, and just because his name was on a building, his grandsons and great-grandsons always made their way onto the team. So in that case, that would be kind of the opposite of a meritocracy. But here, Gladwell was telling us, no, it doesn't matter if you're grandfather was Gordie Howe, Mr. Hawk. You're not going to make that team unless you are good enough. It's the way it should be, right? Yeah. If you have the, if you have the ability, the vast network of hockey scouts and talent spotters will find you. If you are willing to work to develop that ability, the system will reward you. Success in hockey is based on individual merit. Okay, stop. I think that could be a key word. Why? Because he told us, right? He put it in the fancy type, right? The italic. So far we have meritocracy. And not only is it a key word because it kind of came in a place here as a topic sentence, but I think I've read it about 3 or 4 times as well. All right. So success in hockey is based on individual merit. Both of those words are important. Players are judged on their own performance, not on anyone else's, and on the basis of their ability, not on some other arbitrary fact. Or are they?
Good stuff.
Okay.
So I believe that's why they put the dash earlier. Where he explained for good pause a little bit. You mentioned the age of 17, 18, 19. I'm guessing that's around high school, college area. That's when they became national. National. Okay.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we don't know for sure, but I think that's a pretty good guess. Yes. This is exactly how I want you guys to read, right? Have these questions, reverting back to things that you've read early on. But aren't you kind of mad, though, that Malcolm Gladwell spent all this time telling us about how Canadian hockey is a meritocracy, just to say, or are they? And we know that's not the case, right? But that's what writers do. That was a long hook, guys. That was a long hook right there. All right. Okay. What time is it? Oh, we can do a little bit more. Okay, this is a book about outliers. I'm going to stop myself again.
Outlier keyword.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But notice how we went from or are they? This is a book about outliers. See how there's like a shift? To me, that would be a good place to chunk. Okay, stop. You're gonna start to get into it. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna chunk what I've just read. Let's see, a couple sentences. Basically, the focus seems to be on hockey. Malcolm Gladwell has made it a point to suggest that Canadian hockey thinks they are a meritocracy. But that last question there, or are they, leads me to believe, so it's kind of like a prediction, that it's not a meritocracy. There's some other factor that makes these people get to that higher level. That's it. That's basically what he told us. But it took him a couple pages, right? All right.
Trudging over what's...
So it's almost like he's doing a reboot, like he's telling us the introduction again, almost, right? About men and women, there are no women, who do things that are out of the ordinary. That's the only critique I have of this book. He doesn't really talk about anything. Over the course of the chapters ahead, I'm going to introduce you to one kind of outlier after another. The geniuses, business tycoons, rock stars, software programmers. We're going to uncover the secrets of a remarkable lawyer, look at what separates the very best pilots from pilots who have crashed planes, you won't believe it, and to try to figure out why Asians are so good at math. You won't believe that either. And examining the lives of the remarkable among us, the skilled, the talented, and the driven. Notice those dashes there. I think he really wants us to focus on the skilled, the talented, and the driven. I will argue that there is something profoundly wrong with the way we make sense of success. What is the question we always ask about the successful, we want to know what they're like, what kind of personalities they have, or how intelligent they are, or what kind of lifestyles they have, or what special talents they might have been born with. And we assume that it is those personal qualities that explain how that individual reached the top. Yeah, that's what we've been told, right? They were born with it.
Desensitization from
And the
technology
autobiography
caused their taste buds
every
to
year by
change.
the billionaire, entrepreneur, rock star, celebrity. The storyline is always the same. Our hero was born in the modest circumstances, and by virtue of his own grit, there's that word, talent fights his way to greatness. In the Bible, Joseph is cast out by his brothers and sold into slavery, and then rises to become Pharaoh's right-hand man on the strength of his own brilliance and insight. The famous 19th century novels of Horatio Alger, young boys born into poverty rise to riches through a combination of pluck and initiative. I think overall it's a disadvantage. Jeff Bush once said of what it meant for a business career that he was the son of an American president and the brother of an American president and the grandson of a wealthy Wall Street banker and U.S. senator. Okay, stop. I'm going to stop myself. I think that's an important point.
Holy shit.
He just got done telling us about what we've been led to believe, that these people, right, through their hard work, they rise above it. Then he gives us this example of Jeb Bush, right? George Bush's brother, George W.'s brother, right? His brother was a president. His father was a president, right? And he's saying that, oh, it's a disadvantage. Yeah, right. When he ran for the governor of Florida, he repeatedly referred to himself as a self-made man. And it is a measure of how deeply we associate success with the efforts of the individual that few batted an eye at that description. No, stop, okay. Lift your head up. Oh, lift up your heads. I've been staring at since 9 o'clock this morning. Lift up your heads. Robert Winthrop told the crowd many years ago at the unveiling of a statue of that great hero of American independence, Benjamin Franklin. And look at the image of a man who rose from nothing, who owed nothing to parentage, patronage, who enjoyed no advantages of early education which are not open, 100-fold open to yourself. Perform the most menial services in the businesses in which his early life was employed. Live and stand before him, die to leave a name which the world will never forget. Giving us a lot of examples of
Back to
how,
the chase where your flow was stolen.
the person that rose, that was born with it, whatever it is, that just they had this gift and they rose above it. But we know that in a few minutes he's going to say, nope, right?
In the seaside
No.
town.
So this might be a good place to jump as well. I want to convince you
Get
kind of personal
There's a
explanation.
fucking article at.
Don't worry.
God
People
damn it.
don't rise from nothing. We do owe something to parentage
Bitch.
and patronage. There's a couple of words that can be key, right? Parentage and patronage. We've seen those a few times. The people who stand before kings may look like they did well for themselves, but in
Fuck.
fact, they are invariably the beneficiaries of hidden advantages,
Where's the fucking article,
extraordinary
dude?
opportunities, and cultural legacies that allow them to learn and work hard, make sense of the world in ways others cannot. It makes a difference where and when we grew up. The culture we belong to and the legacies passed down by our forebears shape the patterns of our achievement in ways we
Jesus
cannot
fucking
begin to
Christ,
imagine
dude.
when we stop. I predict that Gladwell is going to tell us about this. It's not enough to ask what successful people are like. In other words, it is only by asking where they are from that we can unravel the logic behind who succeeds and who doesn't. So let's stop. Okay, I'm going to stop and ask the question. What are your thoughts about this? It's basically saying that the idea that you can work hard and you can rise from nothing is no good. It's fake. Any thoughts on this? This is just one man and his opinion. You don't have to agree.
I don't agree.
Okay, why not?
Well, I don't think that that only people that have successful people around them it's that they're the only ones that are going to succeed. There's people that have different backgrounds and different how can I say, they struggle differently and they actually are able to succeed at some point if they actually commit to it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good point. I love this book so much. I want to tell you. I just want to give you a sample. What if I told you that I could take a couple of men and look back 250 years, and if their ancestors were a herder, or if their ancestors were a
Come,
farmer, I think it is. I
nuclear
can say the word asshole and predict how you're going to respond.
the machine.
That's pretty. I mean, that to me is kind of astonishing, and that's what's going to happen. It's the asshole experiment. So, something to look forward to. But yeah, all right, let's keep going. Biologists, science, often talk about the ecology of an organism. The tallest oak in the forest is the tallest not just because it grew from the hardiest acorn. It's the tallest also because no other trees block its sunlight. Oh, that makes sense, huh? So it was lucky. The soil around it was deep and rich. Okay? No rabbit chewed through its bark as a sapling, and no lumberjack cut it down before it matured. We all know that successful people come from hardy seeds. Okay.
Fuck.
But do we know enough about the sunlight that warmed them? The soil in which they put down the roots, and the rabbits and the lumberjacks that were lucky enough to avoid them? This is not a book about tall trees. It's a book about forests. And hockey is a good place to start because the explanation
This is Saturn.
is a lot more interesting and complicated than it looks. In fact, it's downright peculiar.
As overstimulation from technology
Well,
causes us to eat spicy foods.
This is definitely a place to jump. And in an hour,
Oh
you
shit.
want to stop? Go a little further. It's, I don't, any thoughts?
What's relate to the student earlier said, it's not just how you're born.
Come,
Besides like going into our state, like your mother a celebrity.
every day like
There's
summer.
people that were born like rock stars or rappers, that came from nothing.
Y'all crazy.
Rags to riches. In other
Yeah,
words,
rags to riches, exactly.
it's just that individual-driven mentality and commitment. Also, it gets you there.
Yeah.
Why are
So it's
Americans
almost,
eating more
it's
spicy
almost like he's
foods?
going to focus on, I mean, you have to have talent, right? But there's going to be something that separates, I guess it's almost like he's going to present us these theories and claims that might be kind of hard to believe. And they actually kind of are, really. I mean, the fact that in one culture, a person would not question the authority. A co-pilot would not question the authority of a pilot because that is not how you do it in that culture. Even though that co-pilot knew that they were going to be dead in 2 minutes because the plane was going to crash, and yet would not say a word. I mean, that's the kind of things that we're going to be reading about. That's pretty powerful stuff. So I just gave it away. That's all. There's plenty of surprises. So okay, well, it's almost 4.
Fuck.
I'm leaving it open. Do you want to go a little more, or you want to just call it? This is a good place to stop.
Yeah, I'm okay if we continue.
Okay. Good. All right, just a little longer. All right. Okay, so now we're back to hockey. All right. You gotta think, why hockey? I know. Here's the, and if you don't know it, oh, you can't really see it that well. I love this. All right. Here's the player roster of the 2007 Medicine Hat Tiger. Take a close look and see if you can spot anything strange about it. Don't give it away if you already read it. But for those of you that haven't, right, let's see, because I didn't get it. Do you notice anything strange about this roster?
Everything like Sunday. This is the
Do you
cut.
see it? No. The birthdays,
oh, shit.
yeah. Wow, you're good. I didn't see it. So what about those birthdays? A lot of them are the March, early months, huh? Okay. Do you see it? Don't feel bad if you don't, because for many years in the hockey world, no one did. Now we're getting back to that age thing, right? It wasn't until the mid-1980s, in fact, that a Canadian psychologist named Roger Barnsley first drew attention to the phenomenon of relative age. Bingo. That could be a key word, right? Relative age. So I've given you like 5 or 6 of them already. Barnsley was at a Lethbridge Broncos hockey game in southern Alberta, the team that played in the same major junior A league as the Vancouver Giants and the Medicine Hat Tigers. Okay, we know them. He was there with his wife Paula, his boys, and his wife was reading the program. And she ran across a roster list just like the one above that you just looked at. Can you kind of sense though when things are like, okay, it's kind of just, it's not as serious, you know? But like when he says Canadian hockey is a meritocracy, it's like, you know, we know something big's happening. But here it's like, okay, now it's kind of relaxed, setting the stage again for something bigger. Roger, she said, do you know when these young men were born? Barnsley said yes. They were all between 16 and 20, so they'd be born in the late 60s. No, Paula went on. What month? I thought she was crazy. Wanted to remember, but I looked through it. What she was saying just jumped out at me. For some reason, there were an incredible number of January, February, and March birthdays. Barnsley went home that night and looked up the birthdays of as many professional hockey players as he could find. Same pattern. Barnsley, his wife, and a colleague, A.H. Thompson, then gathered statistics on every player in the Ontario Junior Hockey. The story was the same. The second most, more players were born in January than in any other month by an overwhelming margin. Okay?
Fuck.
They're lucky to play when it comes to hockey. But the question I have, and hopefully you have, is why?
Yeah, I have.
Because they're an Aquarius or they're a Pisces? Pisces, like water, ice hockey, I don't know.
Another question. On that list, I've seen the acronym for pause. I don't know if that's
On what?
On the list, it's pause. I think it's pause.
Oh, right here?
Yeah, is that like left hand?
That's the position they play. I think in hockey you have a center, a right wing, a left wing.
Technology and spicy
I
foods.
think it's,
Okay.
I really don't know much about hockey. I think it's kind of similar to soccer, maybe.
Okay.
Just show position where they are playing
Yeah.
and the left.
Oh, okay. I just seen a lot of the D's. So I was just
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. The second most frequent month, February. The third, March. Barnsley found that there were nearly 5.5 times as many Ontario Junior Hockey League players born in January as were born in November. He looked at all the all-star teams of 11-year-olds and 13-year-olds. The young players selected for elite traveling squad. Same story. He looked at the composition of the National Hockey League. Now we're getting to the pros. Same story. The more he looked, the more Barnsley came to believe that what he was seeing was not a chance occurrence, but an iron law in Canadian hockey. In any elite group of hockey,
Trudge
the very best of the best, 40%
lovers.
of the players will have been born between January and March. Why? 30% between April and June, 20% between July and September, 10% between October and December. So if you were born in December and wanted to play professional hockey, you don't have that. The odds are against you. Does anybody want to take a guess as to why? Before he explains it? Okay, well, let's wrap it up. In all my years in psychology, I've never run into an effect this large. And it's funny because I believe it was his wife that noticed it, right? Look at their birthdays. You don't even need to do any statistical analysis. You just look at it. Some of you saw it. Look back at that Medicine Hat roster. Do you see it now? 17 out of the 25 players on the team were born in January, February, March, or April. Here's the play-by-play of it. Now we know why he did the play-by-play, so it's substituted. Here's the play-by-play for the first 2 goals in the Memorial Cup. Only this time, I substituted the players' birthdays for their names. It no longer sounds like the championship of Canadian hockey. And now, it sounds like a strange sporting ritual. So we don't have to read all the names, right? March 11 starts around one side of the night.
This is a coastal town, but we forgot to count.
Second period. Again, Medicine Hat, right? January 21st. So you get the idea. So let's keep going. The explanation for this is quite simple. It has nothing to do with astrology, nor is there anything magical about the first 3 months of the year. It's simply that in Canada, the eligibility cutoff for age class hockey is January 1. A boy who turns 10 on January 2 then could be playing alongside someone who doesn't turn 10 until the end of the year. Okay? And at that age, pre-adolescence, a 12-month gap in age represents an enormous difference in physical maturity. Okay, stop. So does it make sense now why those people born in January, February, or March have an advantage?
Yeah, they can practice more than.
They're bigger.
Yeah.
They're bigger. This being Canada, the most hockey-crazed country on earth, coaches start to select players for the traveling rep squad all-star teams at the age of 9 or 10. And of course, there are more likely to be as talented, the bigger and more coordinated players who have had the benefit of critical extra months of maturity. They're bigger, they're more coordinated.
God,
These scouts are looking at these 9 and 10-year-olds and they're seeing the huge discrepancy, right? Somebody that was born in January is a lot bigger than somebody that was born in December. Now start thinking about the natural effect. What happens when a player gets chosen for a rep squad? He gets better coaching, and his teammates are better. He plays 50 or 75 games a season instead of 25. Right? So do you see it now? The Matthew effect. Because they're born in March, they get chosen for the traveling team. They get to play more. They have better coaching. 75 games a season instead of 20 games a season like those left behind in the house league, and he practices twice as much or even 3 times more than he would have otherwise. In the beginning, his advantage isn't so much that he is inherently better, only that he is older. But by the age of 13 or 14, the benefit of better coaching and all that extra practice under his belt, he really is better. So he's the one more likely to make it to the major junior A league and from there into the
This
big
is the
league.
seaside
Okay, stop.
town.
I think we'll stop there. But so is it clear now how this happened? So if they would have made the cutoff, like July, then people born in July, August, September would have had the advantage, right? So that goes back to what he was saying, that arbitrary thing. Somebody said, let's make it January 1st. And look what they created. They created these small, but small but important, like hidden advantages. They look bigger, right? When you're that
On
young,
your
you
face.
think bigger, you're more developed, you're gonna be better. We're gonna put this kid over here because he's bigger. This kid gets all the best coaches. This kid gets to play more, whereas that kid doesn't. But you could switch them, and it would, and it would probably be the same thing. So, pretty remarkable, I think.
I don't know if it's just coincidence, Steve, or just my personal thinking, but winter, the season winter, I don't know if it's the same over there or whatnot, but here, winter is December, January, February, but usually, the season doesn't start until a month after, which would begin in January.
Okay.
It's been going here, and so if that has anything to do with it,
Probably does.
Because it's ice, right?
Yeah.
Come, nuclear blow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it,
Lost
talks
on
about baseball and stuff, and kind of makes the same argument. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe it wasn't as random as I made it out to be. That it was based off of their environment, right? They had to, they probably played on the frozen ponds, I guess, things like that. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that the fact that they get to choose the better players makes their Canada look better and the team look better as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what he's gonna tell us is proof that Canadian hockey isn't a meritocracy. I mean, you could argue that it is, but it isn't. Right? Yeah. For what? Half of the players were born in March, April, right? January, February, March, or April. So that's part of it. Wait until you learn why in this country, it's kind of changed some. We've had different shifts, but it was largely you go to school and you have this long summer vacation.
Fuck.
The rationale behind that is crazy. So, but anyway, something to look forward to. So, I had fun. I would do this every week if you guys wanted to. I love this book. I still get chills and stuff. I think when we get to the end of it, what his whole purpose is, I think it's pretty amazing. But we'll talk more about that later. I hope you enjoyed this. There's a chat. Age, practice, and both are related, yeah. Oh, I never talked about semicolon, but I will. I promise. I will another day. But it's 4 o'clock. I'm sure some of you are ready to go. But yeah, thanks again. If you didn't have a chance to meet with the coach, there's still sign-ups tomorrow. You can meet with me. If you didn't get your paper done, there's something that I can do to help, let me know. If you didn't get that sentence journal finished,
And all this
that,
talk
all
of
these
that
types of
shit.
deals.
Look around.
Just try not to get too far behind.
Slut heat.
I have one
Oh,
It's like
go ahead. Question.
in regards to I did the rough draft for the essay, and then I already spoke to a coach. But do I have to resubmit that assignment again under
Yes.
under
Yeah.
this because
I'll
even though
show
the okay.
Yeah, I'll show you. Sorry if that wasn't clear. Yeah, I'll show you real quick. That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that.
Every day is like Sunday. This is a coastal town that they forgot.
Okay.
Link
so you
between
submitted your
technology
draft.
consumption and spicy foods.
This one. This is the 25 points. Now your final draft, I know most of you kind of follow the to-do list, and that's fine. So you'll want to resubmit it here under the final draft. Right?
Okay, so all corrections.
Yeah.
Okay. I
And it's
just
fine. Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I wasn't sure if I had to resubmit it under the same from last week.
No.
Because it said on the corner it said resubmit, so I was just confused.
Well, I guess you could resubmit, but now you might want to resubmit to this one right after I graded, but no. So your final draft, and maybe you don't have a lot of revisions, right? But so when you meet with the coach or you view their feedback, you make your corrections, you submit it here to this final draft, and then I'm going to start reading them. Okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Thank
Sorry
you.
if that was confusing. Yeah. I know sometimes I think I probably do too much and it makes things more confusing than it is. So I apologize. But if something is not clear, just let me know. All right. Well, thank you so much. I had fun. What a way to end the day. Sort of. I thought it was great. But anyway, I enjoyed this. I hope you did too.
Thank
See
you.
you all. All right.
Have a good one.
You too. Thanks.
Fuck yeah.